The moment this exchange began, it felt like the room dropped 10 degrees because Senator Lindsey Graham didn't just disagree, he detonated, warning that this is the 1,930 seconds all over again as he tore into Secretary Hegseth over comments on Putin's ambitions. And suddenly, the entire hearing shifted from routine statements to a full-blown historical wake-up call. And honestly, watching this clash, you can't help but think that the stakes might be far bigger than what anyone in that room was ready to admit. So watch closely, because what happens next could rewrite the whole conversation.
What you're trying to do is hire people based on merit, right?
Yes, sir.
You could care less if they're libertarian, vegetarian, Democrat, Republican, as long as they can do the job?
Yes, sir.
Okay, all right. More people are joining the military now than any time in recent memory, right?
Yes, sir.
So the situation described by Senator Murray is not being viewed by other Americans because they're signing up in droves.
Senator, there's been a historic surge.
You know why? Because they think you're a winner. They think you're going to lead. They think you're going to have their back. That's why they're signing up. Keep doing what you're doing. Now, do you agree that the world kind of miscalculated Hitler in the 20s and 30s?
Certainly did not understand the scope of the threat. Yes,
Like
Senator.
the guy wrote a book, I want to kill all the Jews, and nobody believed him. You remember that? General Kane, is that a fair statement that the military-industrial complex of the 20s and 30s really didn't miscalculated Hitler?
Yes, sir.
The danger of that is like 50 million people get killed. So let's don't do that now. As to Iran, they say they want to kill all the Jews. Do you agree with them?
I believe they mean what they chant. Yes, Senator.
Do you agree with that, General Kane?
Sir, I think they've got some agendas for sure to.
Well, is that
advance
agenda to use a nuclear weapon against Israel?
Sir, I think they would potentially.
They had a nuclear weapon. Would they use it against Israel? In your professional military judgment.
Sir, I think they'd use it to pressure Israel. I don't know whether they would use it.
Well, is it 50-50, 60-40, 70-10? What is
Sir,
it?
I don't know what the percentage is.
Well, you can't be wrong, can you? What does Israel think?
Sir, I think they think they would potentially.
What do you
use nuclear.
think, Ms. Secretary? If they had a nuclear weapon, would they use it to wipe out Israel?
I think Israel believes, quite understandably,
Do you believe that?
That it is an existential
Do
threat
you
to their
believe
existence.
that?
Hold on, and then in the hands of the wrong Iranian, a cleric or a radical, that they would seek to
Well,
use.
is this a radical cleric that exists there today?
Well, as of
If
right
he's
now,
not,
yes.
who the hell would be? So I'm trying to get everybody to think, let's don't do what we did in the 30s. They're going to use a nuclear weapon if they get it. Are they trying to build a nuclear weapon versus a peaceful nuclear power program, Mr. Secretary? Have the Iranians been trying to build a nuke?
There are plenty of indications that they have been moving their way towards something that would look a lot like a nuclear weapon.
Does China intend to take Taiwan by force if necessary?
We don't believe they've made that decision yet, but certainly if you look at their exercises that they're performing in that area, they
What
look
do you
a lot
think,
like
General
what that would
Kane?
look
Do you
like.
think China is intent on taking Taiwan?
Sir, I think it's not to split hairs, but I think it depends on what you define take. I think if
like take it over.
I think if they could get them their way, for sure. Do I think they're going to use military capability? Maybe, maybe not. Do we need to be prepared for that? Yes.
Okay. Is Putin going to stop in Ukraine?
I don't believe he is, sir. I think he'll
What do you
go
think?
until.
What do you think, Secretary? Is he going to stop?
Remains to be seen, Senator.
Well, he says he's not. This is the 30s all over. It doesn't remain to be seen. He tells everybody around what he wants to do. Are you familiar with his military buildup in terms of armaments? It's well beyond what we need to do to take Ukraine. Listen, I like what you're doing. I just think we got to get this stuff right. Iran cannot have a nuclear weapon because they'll use it. They're homicidal maniacs who are religious Nazis. China is an expansionist power who will take Taiwan if we don't deter them. Russia will dismember Ukraine and keep going if we don't stop them. Radical Islam, are they still out there, General Kane?
Sir, I think there are still folks that would do America harm.
So is ISIS dead?
No, sir.
Is Al-Qaeda dead?
Mostly, and dying more every day.
Yeah, but are they still out there trying to get here?
Yes, sir, to a
So
certain
the
extent.
threat of radical Islam is still real to the American people?
Yes, sir, if allowed to scale. We
Yeah.
work hard to not allow that to happen.
And how you do that, you hit them over there before they come here, right?
So we have a variety of ways, as you know.
It's better to have partners than do it by yourself?
Always, sir, yes.
Okay, so go over just a little bit. The point is, radical Islam is out there. They're trying to get here. Ms. Secretary, if they had a nuclear weapon, would they use it?
The chamber feels like it's holding its breath as Lindsey Graham leans forward, his voice cutting through the silence with a line so heavy it feels ripped straight out of a history book. This is the 30 seconds all over again. In that instant, the whole room freezes, not because of the words alone, but because of the weight behind them. It's not a comment, it's a warning. You can almost feel the ghost of a past century drifting through the air, the shadow of dictators rising, nations hesitating, alliances cracking. And right across from him sits Secretary Hegseth, straightening his papers, unaware that he's about to be pulled into a collision that feels less like policy debate and more like a reenactment of a historical alarm bell ringing at maximum volume. Graham's tone is razor sharp, accusing not just a statement but a mindset, challenging the very lens through which Hegseth views Putin's ambitions, signaling that misinterpretation isn't just a mistake, it's the first domino in a chain that history has shown us ends in disaster. What happens next almost feels choreographed by tension itself. Graham transforms from senator to storyteller, laying out parallels with chilling precision. He talks about unchecked expansion, about the cost of underestimating tyrants, about the subtle ways complacency creeps into political analysis. And you can see the room shift as his words sink in. Staffers glance up, reporters lean forward. Even Hegseth can't mask the small flicker of irritation spreading across his face. Because Graham isn't simply countering an argument, he's insinuating softness, implying a dangerous underestimation, accusing Hegseth of normalizing a mindset America cannot afford. Hegseth tries to maintain composure, clarifying that he's analyzing, not minimizing, Putin's goals. But Graham is relentless, cutting him off, pushing harder, insisting that misreading authoritarian ambition is the mistake every collapsing era regretted too late. His voice isn't loud, it's urgent, like someone who's seen this pattern before and refuses to let the room brush it aside. This is where the real psychological battlefield opens. Graham speaks with the energy of someone who treats every threat as 5 steps ahead of what it seems. He isn't just talking about Russia, he's talking about the way history punishes hesitation. Meanwhile, Hegseth embodies a different philosophy, analytical, measured, more concerned with precision than passion. And the clash between these two instincts becomes the dramatic core of the moment. Graham doesn't want nuance. To him, nuance is the enemy of preparedness. Hegseth doesn't want alarmism. To him, alarmism distorts analysis. And the distance between their worldviews begins to feel like a widening canyon. The air tightens. The atmosphere grows heavier. This isn't just a disagreement, it's a philosophical collision about how global threats should be recognized, framed, and confronted before they spiral beyond control. As Graham ramps up, invoking historical catastrophes, Hitler's rise, the world's paralysis, the price of underestimating ambition, you can practically see the temperature in the room drop. Hegseth's expression shifts into something quieter, tighter, the look of someone doing mental calculus on whether to push back or absorb the blow. He chooses restraint, offering explanations, acknowledging that understanding an enemy's goals is necessary to counter them. But Graham interrupts again, this time more forcefully, as though he believes every second wasted on explanation is another second the world inches closer to danger. And for a moment, the room feels suspended in time. 2 men staring at the same threat, but interpreting it through 2 entirely different survival instincts. One warns through fear, the other analyzes through caution. Both believe they're protecting the country, both feel the urgency, just in different frequencies. By the time Graham finally leans back, letting the echo of his accusations settle, it feels like the oxygen in the chamber has changed. Hegseth, still calm but visibly processing the emotional weight of the confrontation, clarifies again softly but firmly that recognizing ambition doesn't equal excusing it, that identifying a dictator's goals is not the same as endorsing them, and that strong deterrence requires clear understanding, not panic. His response is controlled, almost surgical. But you can tell he knows the moment has already been shaped by Graham's fire, by the intensity of historical fear woven into modern policy critique. And this is where the hearing metamorphoses into something larger, less about what was said and more about what was revealed. Two worldviews clashing under the pressure of global stakes. And here's the truth, the part that makes this moment resonate beyond the walls of the hearing. This wasn't just an argument. It was a window into the deeper tension at the heart of foreign policy. How much fear is healthy, how much caution is risky, and how much history should dictate the present. Graham is the voice of never again, of lessons carved into memory with blood and conflict. Hegseth is the voice of modern strategy, of measured assessment, of avoiding emotional misinterpretation. And both perspectives carry weight. That's why this moment matters, not because someone won, but because it exposes the cracks in how nations interpret the world's most dangerous ambitions. So the real question becomes, whose instinct do you trust when history starts whispering warnings again, the fire of urgency or the calm of analysis? And that's what I want from you. Drop your thoughts in the comments, because your take on this clash might just reveal how our generation sees the future of global conflict.